All right, here we are at tip number 1. And before we get into this, I want to just remind you that starting with this section, you have guided notes that you can download and print and follow along with for our notes and as we're working example questions. Now, be sure to get a copy before you start getting into this video. But if you're not able to print a copy, that's fine. Just take a sheet of your own paper and you can follow along with us. But it's very important that you're actually working these practice questions yourself, not just watching me work them and talk through them, but you are giving them a try yourself. So here we go with tip number 1. Practice makes, I'm not going to say perfect, but practice is very important. Working practice problems and taking your practice tests are essential, and we want to look at taking those practice tests in a timed environment. If you've ever taken the ACT before, you probably know how important and what a factor the timing issue can be. I don't want the first time that you take the ACT be the real ACT. Now, and what I mean by that is I'm going to suggest that you take some simulated practice ACT tests. I would really recommend that you take at least 2 of these practice tests before you take the real thing. If you know of anyone that has ever ran a marathon or done something like that, some long endurance event, they don't just run the marathon the first thing that morning. That's the first time that they've done it. They are practicing ahead of time. They're building up their time. It's an endurance thing, taking the ACT, very similar to doing some kind of athletic competition. And here's the suggestion of how I would work these practice tests. First, we're going to make sure we have a quiet time set aside. For the math section, we need at least 60 minutes. Now, the second step would be that we want to take this test timed. So on your test, you're going to have a timer set for 60 minutes. Note your begin time. Run the timer, run through your test. When you get to 60 minutes, if you're not complete, on your test, I would mark where you are at that 60-minute time period. Continue on and finish the test and note what additional time beyond the 60 minutes that it took you to finish. We are a work in progress. This is why we do prep work, because we're not going to be perfect the first time. Then you're going to check through your answers. If you miss any questions, we want to figure out why. Are you making careless mistakes? Is it that you just totally didn't understand it and you need to improve your content area? Or is timing your main issue? Those are the things you want to look at as you're checking through your answers. Make any corrections. Make sure you fully understand the questions, review the material, and be ready to take another practice test. And then we're going to take that next practice test and repeat this process as needed. Okay, it's time to get to work. The first tip was to put some practice in. Just like these guys on a football field don't come out for the first time on a Saturday morning and play a game, you're not going to show up Saturday morning of the ACT and take that test and it be the first time you've even looked at any kind of ACT problems or done any prep work. Let's get started and we'll go to tip 2 in the next section.